if a child feels that they don't want to go to school. You don't allow a child to make decisions based on what they think, let alone what they feel. There is zero scientific basis. You won't even hear them make it.
Forgot my damn vape.
Telling you that, you still will be caught by the hook. So you just ask them, okay, how many genders are there?
Be right back.
Well, someone born in the wrong body? Well, how do you
Damn
know
it.
that? They might try and go to that, I believe, Swedish study, the romantic study, which, by the way, they haven't read properly.
We'll be right back.
And again, male-female brain only exists across sexual hormone administration. There is nothing that exists to suggest wholesale that people are born in the wrong body. Hey, maybe that'll come up down the line, but you would have to wait for the data. Right? Trust, you say there are more than just two genders. So now we're beyond the idea of male brain, female brain. You would have to say, okay, how many are? Name the gender, and let's have a control group, and the gender that you name, and let's see if there are biological differences in that makeup to identify that gender. Now, why do I say it? You say maybe discriminatory. If you're an asshole. I say that's what we do in all medical contexts. Not just for humans, for animals. You need to identify the gender, have a control group, and see if there is a difference. You know what? We do that with people who are actually born intersex, which a very, very small percentage. Those do exist, but we know how to identify them because we have a control group, male, female, and we say this is an anomaly. They can't even name how many genders there are, and people in Europe say that's crazy. Washington State is probably the worst one, May 2023. The parents who would object, this is the law, parents who object to their runaway child wanting to transition, they may not be notified if their children is found. There's no legal requirement to. The child is effectively protected from the abusive parents if the kid runs away. My dad won't let me get a sex change. Great. Dad doesn't know where you are ever again. And puberty blockers, no. Which they're banning in Europe.
All right, let's try this again. Hi, Gregory.
Yes, he did. I thought it was a profession. I don't think you should have allowed him to jump off the second floor, but snowbanks didn't. Of education in New York is encouraging schools high the students transition their gender from their parents. They are encouraging
Hey, fish hauler.
for not identifying his classmate as a cat.
Right.
No, that's just an opinion. You can't say he's not a cat. That teacher can now whisk your child away to a doctor's office and not let you know about it.
Yeah. I mean, the way that this plays out, the kid goes home as a boy, goes to school, goes to the locker, changes, puts on girls' clothes, puts on a wig, whatever they need to do, puts on makeup, lives the entire day like that until school's out, goes back, changes, goes back to parents, and is hiding something like that. The school now feels like they have the moral high ground.
Yeah.
And say, you know what, mom and dad don't need to know what's going on. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want, live your life, you're being oppressed at home.
Yes. And I want you to know is the kind of thing that our very first episode back, we could be suspected again.
I predicted. Yeah. I think there's a better than average chance.
I know usually we break it
Way better than
July,
average.
but all of the week of the 4th of July is gun week for 5 days in a row.
It's gonna be
we
fun.
actually have content the second week of July. We'll be back in August once we update the studios here. But this is one of those scenarios. First off, here in the United States. Okay, this show today, I know will get us suspended from YouTube. We have to be very aggressive.
Yeah.
But that's scary to think because that means that you can't speak about this in the town square. And that also means that everyone else, or most other people, just in case of infection, in Europe, the places that you think are bastions
Hey,
of
Joe.
liberalism,
Great panel last night, dude.
I don't want to use them as an example. I don't want to argue from, just from this position of popularity because they can be wrong.
We had plenty of people, and I was
What
too
do
tired.
want you
But
to
I have
do is
a
argue
great panel, though. I was
from
listening.
the scientific and medical perspective. Okay? Ask those questions. Well, how many genders are there? How do you know that? Argue from the fact that you are right. And you could substantiate it, turning their own weapons against them on the same liberals who say, well, the gun policy in, oh, you mean of the countries that ban puberty blockers. You can't have it both ways. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have children on puberty blockers because Sweden and Norway and Finland and France, because they don't allow it. I'm saying because it's morally reprehensible, and I'm saying because the data shows us that it is irreparably harmful. But you often argue that we should be more like Europe. Does it apply here? Are you sure about those 5 minutes? I'm not saying this because it's your foundational argument, but it is an arrow that you can take out of the left's quiver. They always want to point to Europe, right? And they always want to say there's no such thing as
Nice to have a discussion of a larger group like that, not everybody having the same beliefs, but able to sit down and talk about it. That's what this is all about, man. No, not everybody's not going to agree on everything. I think you guys gave Doc Danger a little bit of insight as to why it's not okay to worry that much about other people's feelings as it is the rights. Because that's a slippery slope. I don't know if he's completely convinced, but I think he's at least he has something to think about.
Those kinds of policies. You'll never hear people in the States, the leftists in the States, saying, you know what, the rest of the world, industrialized world, they understand that this is a cliff that we're walking off as it relates to children on puberty blockers. You're not going to hear that. So I'm not saying argue from that position of popular authority, right? It's an intellectual fallacy. What I am saying is acknowledge that they argue from what, here's the thing with science. Science is not determined by consensus. Science is determined by what's right. The consensus can be, at one point in time, depending on your circle, that the Earth is flat. But one person is right in that it is not. The consensus, at some point, that there's nothing wrong with asbestos and breathing it in. The science says that there is. But here's the thing. We have both consensus saying that puberty blockers, let alone sex changes for minors, everywhere outside of the United States, we have consensus with people saying, we think that's wrong. And they happen to be in line with the science that says it is irreparably damaging and it's child abuse. Does that make sense? Comment below if it does, if it helps you. And comment below if you think that, Elon Musk might be biting off more than he can chew with
The robot.
with the fights.
The machine.
And what do you have there, Hootie?
So we finally got the contrast of Dave Chappelle's specials on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, great. So let's look at Dave Chappelle.
So in
Let's show him.
2017, he had a special collection with 6%.
What's the point to it anymore?
She's so unfunny.
Yes, but what you fail to understand is I don't tell jokes.
I know.
My comedy is not meant to be funny.
Well, then it's not comedy.
No,
It's
that's
something
why it's
else.
so subversive. People say, let's check back in with our Jewish correspondent.
Edwina, good morning. Oh, let me fix your name here. Turn it blue. There you go.
Well, we should send him a gift bag. It's a hard day.
That's a real blow.
He really thought that he was.
Yeah.
It was sad.
Sorry.
We'll be back. Anything else that I'm missing?
No.
We'll be back on YouTube here, of course.
Howdy, Edwina.
June 29th.
Good morning.
June 29th.
We're just going to listen to a little bit of Crowder and Mud Club on the way to work.
We're just not
And then we'll be probably doing another desktop stream today. Gotta keep the views up.
We, of course, it is Chat Thursday, and we are going to be taking.
I usually get more on the drive than I do on the desktop
Right
stream.
now, for those of you who are members of
Pretty much, that's a show for other people's just reviewing content. Kind of the bow
We love you, Rumble.
without the entertaining Vietnamese dude.
Let's go to Mud Club.
Mud Club time. Well, now it's got a month to make it knee high. Oh, not even a month to make it knee high. Is it going to be knee high by the 4th? The corn, so I missed it. I want to flip. That's wheat on the right, but corn behind us. stop and get an iced tea. From the Speedway.
I'm so much more happy that my father's Terminator 2 than he is
Current Arnold?
than he was when he had to do Caitlyn Jenner.
Oh, that's right. This does kind of balance the scales a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
You know, very
I tried to make you
manly.
so uncomfortable.
You really did.
I know.
Yeah. I mean, Mom, she had an annulment.
Interesting. I didn't know I could twerk.
Yeah.
You
well,
can't.
I just gave it
You
a
did
whirl.
something far more horrifying.
Well, you know what you nailed? Her balls.
Waist
hanging
tie?
out. Yes, that's what you nailed.
Yeah.
Pendulous.
Angela.
Happiness.
You
Been pretty dry around here, though. We did get some rain last week with those tornadoes and shit, but not a lot of rain, actually.
Yeah, you know what? Let me get a shot.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even know that was there.
Why is the feces on the front on that one?
Well, why not? They're hobos.
Well, we're going to do the
They throw it like monkeys.
Remember when I got kicked out of the Feminist Film Festival in Grand Rapids?
Yeah, I do.
And because they were doing body shaming panels.
I think it was because you were wearing tidy white.
No. Sorry. No, the point is, I've always worn, and now it became popular, but we used to remember boxer briefs were kind of a new thing in the early 90s.
Yeah.
That's always what I wore. Big reason is because they are unwedgeable, right? People think, no, loose boxers is the worst wedgie because it's a seam.
Exactly, because as a younger male growing up, you have to take that into account.
Yes, you have to take
How many
into account.
wedgies, and how do I avoid
But
it?
it's not as painful as that Indian guy with the
No,
baton.
with the penis thing.
But it's a wedgie.
I don't know, he works his way up to it.
Jesus. She's carrying
And then
fucking
tight
5
whities,
drinks.
It becomes a thong, so it is weddable. Boxer briefs are your
All
greatest
foam
protection
cups, too.
against it. And back then there was no stretch though, so remember where the leg would always be so stretched out by the end of the day.
Yeah.
Oh, this is pointless.
I'll be right back. I'll leave you guys on.
They were doing
You can listen to Mud Club.
Pride panel in 2016, whenever it was. I said, okay, I'm going to walk in, without being a registered sex offender. But I realized that black boxer briefs isn't as funny. So
Right.
I went to Dollar Tree or Family Dollar and got tidy whities because I realized that was funnier. But then I realized that I hadn't washed them yet, so they were still kind of that see-through. Too sheer. So I had 3 pairs of tidy. I had to go back to Dollar Tree and buy a pack of tidy whities. So I've never worn them in my life, but it was funnier.
Yeah.
And I was kicked out in my tidy whities, and I was banned from, I believe it was the Civic Theater in Grand Rapids.
The Civic Theater will not have you back, will they?
And it was the first time I ever saw LGBTQAAI. And when I joked about it, people said, well, straw man, come on, that's just a couple of extremists. I said, watch, wait, and here we are. That was the first time I ever saw it.
You look like a professional wrestler from the 70s.
Yeah.
That tiny wedgie.
Yeah, where it's like, you're
Hiked
not,
up high.
You're not
Yeah, yeah.
quite. You're not quite in shape because you haven't done the juice, but someone can see that you lifted some weights at some point. Jesse Ventura, like Jake the Snake. Oh, by the way, did I ever tell you about the? Well, let's go to the costume contest winners.
Yeah.
No. Let's go to costume contest winners. Then we'll take some shit.
How they did
The
California.
time I spent in that chair, I should win it.
Right.
Well, that's not how it works.
Yeah,
Did I ever tell you?
In the rules.
This takes away the manliness of you being the Terminator, all right? Quit
Yeah.
complaining
Yes.
about
Whining.
sitting in a chair.
You know what I really do like though? He has a podcast out there. Is Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah.
And he was just tell you what he's made me think about it. You can go back and see what he. You can go back and see what he had to do when he
Please
was
do
young.
tell us how that made you think about it.
When he was young and the stuff that he was like the Hollywood whatever tag team duo.
Yeah.
And if ever there was an interview one time where he was talking about how he came up with Stone Cold Steve Austin, he was really at a point in his career where he was kind of a jobber, no one was paying attention to him. And sorry, I can't do a Stone Cold kind of impression without swearing. And he told this story. I think I'm about right. He goes,
Well,
You know, I didn't fucking know what was happening there at that point where I was having a fucking tough time in my career. And then Vince McMahon said, well, okay, well, let's do something new with you, kind of maybe like return of babyface to like fucking heel or something. And then I said, well, I want to be like a Stone Cold Killer. I want that to be like my fucking thing. And he gave me a list of names, okay? And on the bottom of that list of names is fucking Frosty McCool. And I don't know fucking if you were fucking straight the bottom of the barrel, but if you lift the barrel up and look under it, that's where you'll find Frosty McFucking Cool.
That was crazy.
And I was drinking tea that night with
A
my
Red Bull?
My wife, so I was all upset about it. She said, hey, finish your tea.
I've been
Stone
staying
Cold
away
Cool.
from the
I said,
sugars,
"That's
man.
it. Stone Cold.
Unsweetened
Something
tea.
better than Frosty McFucking Cool.
I saw myself doing that jerky stream. I saw that gut, and I actually got a little bit disgusted with myself.
Tell you when it happened. And they say you're plagiarizing if you don't have your flash of genius moment. And I tend to believe them. So
So before he was Stone Cold, he was
cutting back on the calories a little bit.
or no, maybe it was Frosty McFreeze. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, some stupid name.
You sure as hell don't want to work out.
Bottom of the fucking barrel. If you look underneath that fucking barrel, that's where you find Frosty go.
Oh.
And they just start rocking out.
I'm gonna drink every last one of these beers. You don't get your fucking ass out here.
It was fun. Professional wrestling, man. That was
All right.
There was a heyday for it.
There was a heyday for it. It's tough when you watch it as an adult sometimes.
Yeah.
When you were a kid, it was fun.
Some adults.
Yes. Sorry, McBrody. We love you.
I love you.
Yeah.
You mess with me on wines.
All right.
For you.
Let's go to the costume contest winners, and I do have to go out just early because I have a proctologist.
Ah.
Your butt finger.
Yes.
Oh. Yeah, well, yeah, he said it already. You didn't have to. Just, hey, swastika boy, quiet.
By the way,
Everyone, Gerald.
yeah, he
Yeah,
has
way
to
to stay in
commit.
character.
By the way, everyone, give a round of applause to Toolman for. You have to think twice about Charles Manson.
When you leave this set, you're going to take
Do we
it.
have the footage of them putting it on you? Do we know if we have that?
They took it.
Do we know if we have it?
It's like Gary filming.
Hey, Samson.
Have it? We'll run it another day. What happened is they were doing it.
Listening to Mud Club, buddy.
They were putting it, and then what they did is they did it with eyeliner. It'll come off.
Yeah.
But when he opened his eyes, it was a Sharpie.
It's the first thing I saw. Oh, a Sharpie.
It's like, oh, a Sharpie. Wow. And that's about what you'll get from Tim, and then, like, you know, like your cat will show up dead.
Yeah. You're like,
It's funny because it's true.
Tim?
I would deal with 1,000 Tims and Nick DiPaolo's over one passive aggressive person. If Tim's angry, you know he's angry. If Nick is mad, you know he's mad, and it's done. And they show up.
Let's talk about Dave Landau there.
If Tim's mad, it's usually for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Like when we were at the gun range and it was 114 degrees with the heat index.
Yeah,
He was like,
literally,
yeah,
Nick was about to die.
Nick, Nick. I thought it was for
Love you,
some
Nick.
chalk outline. And I said, wait, hold on, where's so-and-so? And Tim goes, oh, they got hot, so they went in to take a break. And I said, oh, we're looking to take breaks? He's like, yeah. Are you getting hot? Are you guys getting hot? Because he has to be out there with the camera. He's being live.
We were
only
out there
got
the whole
like
time.
one break for the lunch.
Yeah.
Like 30 minutes and then we were right back
Yes,
up.
and most people were troopers, and of course they should get breaks. Our cameras were overheating so badly that
We had to put them in front of fans.
Yeah, it would
is
take 3
amazing.
hours to film something that would take maybe half an hour.
Yeah.
Because the cameras would shut down.
It was very, very, very. And we have some very light-skinned people that should never be out in the sun.
Well, Mr. Guns and Gear has a bald head, and he doesn't wear sunscreen because he thinks that it's cancer.
It was poisonous.
Yeah.
But he was completely fine, by the way.
The sun.
He does this all the time. Like, he's out at ranges all the time, and I'm like, oh, man, are you tired? He goes, no, it's kind of a normal life. I'm like, this
No,
sucks.
it was pretty hot for him. But
No.
He's not usually surrounded by tires and.
Oh, man.
What was the heat index? 110.
It was
Oh, yeah.
over 100 degrees.
It's when you see blurry
You had a
lines.
116 heat index this week.
I can deal with heat very well. And I was getting to the point where I'm like, this is getting kind of rough.
I got a horrible, I guess it was heat rash.
Headache? Oh, yeah.
And then I put on what Mom said was aloe vera, and it was blue gel that happens to have aloe vera in it.
And
the
alcohol.
second it went on, it turned.
We got at the dollar store.
I used to put-
And I
yeah.
put on like, and then my back looked like a gremlin who had been, had hit water and
Yeah,
fed out
exactly.
at midnight.
You said the first ingredient is literally blue dye number 4.
It was isopropyl alcohol,
There's
and
no
like blue
aloe in
dye
there.
for 4, and then there happens to be aloe vera. They fairy dust.
Traces.
It was menthol right before.
Yes, exactly. So it was squeezing out the remains of cool cigarettes.
I have the video, actually. If you
Oh, do we have the video? I haven't seen this. I'm curious to see if Tim controlled his rage or if it became unbridled. Let's see.
I am
It's
too.
not to be good here. Look
Behind
at
the
this.
swastika. Okay, so she's doing
Got
it. with
a signal
eyeliner.
on
That's
still.
like Brandy. I hope she doesn't mind us giving her a name. She's fantastic. She
Gonna
helps
do.
with all this.
You can come over here at any point. Or he has no intention and doesn't realize the signal's on.
Go back. Pause it. When he
Boom,
leans
bro.
back and his face starts getting red. Look, that's
real.
rage.
That's
Kill you.
Look, it's called seething. Yes.
Jeez.
That is rage.
He's ready to kill.
That is Tim can't do anything because he can't hit a chick, and it's too late.
And Gary's filming.
Yes.
Thanks, Gary.
Yeah, Gary was. If she had moved, Gary was the wrong guy at the wrong place. at the wrong
Tim was
time.
just looking for a weapon.
Oh,
He's doing a mental search, like 10 steps.
He took it like a champ. All right.
right.
Roll. This is the
All right,
third
this is our
place.
third place from month.
Oh,
Yeah, and a graphic and
Yeah, everything.
Oh, that's nice.
yeah, that's a
Saved
really good
by the
one.
month.
Which one was Jesse? I don't
You remember
I
Jesse?
guess the blonde.
I don't think the blonde. I think there was the girl with because there was a blonde and then there was a girl with kind of more like curly hair.
Was it the girl who did Showgirls?
Yes, the girl that did Showgirls.
Yeah.
Gina Gershon?
I don't know.
Elizabeth Berkley.
You know what? I have no idea.
I don't know, but I guess they're all very nice.
Does the dude abide?
Dude abides. All right, so that's great.
Crowder's dressed like the Big Lebowski.
And of course, the lock of Gerald's hair is reserved for. Actually, in this case,
Cultural appropriation they're doing in California.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Precancerous patch.
Pretty bad. Number 2, so the runner-up.
Runner-up from Sarcastic Seaman, a sailor.
Oh,
There we
that's
go.
not really fair.
Getting the kids involved?
Yeah, it's just
That's
it's
cheating.
Let's
It's
call
cheating.
CPS because they shouldn't be watching.
Yes. What's I hope that cup is not what is it, Luprin?
Different.
Yes.
No, that's.
I don't think you drink it. Look, I appreciate it, but that is cheating because kids and puppies, they're always
It's just not fair.
It's just not fair. You're
But
cheating.
we'll allow it this one time.
We'll allow it. Your child is adorable, but I'm angry with you for
Very disappointed.
Yes.
What's the sailor connection though?
California.
California and
Got
the
an
bases
ocean?
down there in San Diego.
We have Camp Pendleton, and
Yeah.
I don't know. They just want an excuse to showcase their cute kid. Well, guess what? Mission accomplished.
Hope you feel good about yourself.
Number and the winner of California Cultural Appropriation, the costume contest, and the winner of a skin graft from Mike, Mr. Guns and Gear, is...
It's Ian Rethmeyer with some Californian scholars.
Ah, hey. Wait, are they actually doing that in a lot? Or are they in front of a green screen?
They're in a Target lot.
Well, you know what? Because they're California, too, so they could have done that in the morning.
That's true.
Dark.
Well, that's only a $975 TV, so they're fine.
Yeah, I know. Isn't it funny when people bitch about, and I get it, by the way, there's a gap, and I understand that, but as far as like people who are poor, remember how expensive it was for a 50-inch TV? Go back.
I paid for plasma TV when it came out. I paid $2,000 for a 40-something inch plasma TV. Not kidding.
By the way, plasma still has better blacks, just so people know.
It does, yeah, black is much better.
Birds in.
But remember in Elf, that was what Peter Dinklage was like, there's 3 homes, each with their own 50-inch plasma screen. That was a sign of wealth.
Oh no, it was several $1,000s to get those.
I'm pretty sure you can get one for $299 at Walmart, and it's a 4K TV, and it won't be as good, but it'll be better than the
And by the way-
$2,000 one from 10 years ago.
And it doesn't weigh 200 pounds either.
Right, yeah, exactly.
I remember you're like, all right, you have to get into the studs for this thing to stay on the wall. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So the average person lives like Bill Gates could have lived 10 years ago.
right.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Now the problem that people need to take into account is the idea of retirement and the idea, right, of building generational wealth. That's something that seems out of the reach of a lot of.
I think Gates has the edge there.
Yes, Gates does have the edge there. All that children's blood. All right, so I guess it's do you want to take my chair here, Gerald?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's Chat Thursday, and of course I will be back here. I think I'll be with you tomorrow, but next week. And right now I have to go, with the rectal surgeon.
Have fun.
So enjoy Chat Thursday.
Get a full view of this wonderful costume that they made me put on with the eye patch.
I wore an eye patch an entire summer as a kid. You couldn't go 15 minutes.
Why did you wear an eye patch for an entire summer as a kid?
I hit myself in the eye with a bullwhip.
Well, then you deserve it.
As a kid.
Then you have to deal with the shame and the punishment of wearing an eye patch.
The costume, you go all in. Is my point.
Psycho.
No, you don't. I didn't want to be a Somalian pirate anyway. I don't want to be a pirate. All right, give
You'll
me some
like it
chat.
and wear it. All right. Chat from Jin Diesel. Do you guys have any cities in California that you enjoy to visit other than Napa Valley, Gerald?
It used to be San Francisco 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, well, maybe it's probably a little bit more than that. San Francisco, I love visiting. Like, we would basically fly in there. We'd grab some sandwiches for lunch and go sit and look at the Golden Gate Bridge at the park, and like it was beautiful. It was a great city. It wasn't like 100% clean or safe, but we knew kind of where not to go and where to go, where all the tourists were. So it was great, and I loved it. But do you have any cities that come to mind?
Well, I love San Francisco. It was a long time ago, but
Yeah.
working for a Wall Street firm, and they would, take us by limousine for the weekend.
Yeah.
Fisherman's Wharf and Ghirardelli. chocolate factory and all these tours. And it was amazing. And I just can't believe what's happened to it.
No.
And I'm from Detroit, so I have a good comparison.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful place. And when you get out of the cities, it really is conservative. It's funny. A lot of these, like, I'm not going to name names, but we have a lot of...
Well, it starts to get nice right in Marin County on the other side of the bridge. And it's a different...
It just really starts there. And a lot of these guys, we have winery owners, like big name winery owners that are mug clubbers, like actually in mug club. Not just people who know of the show and maybe watch it every once in a while.
I like that. Changed my mind.
Yeah. They love it. And they absolutely love the show. And they make really good, like top-notch, several $100s per bottle of wine, like really good stuff. But they're farmers. Like, they have to go out and work hard. Like Steven said, when you're training, when you're doing something that's physically demanding, they're running their own business. They're having to deal with all the government regulation, which is insane. It's not just California, the state regulations, it's county regulations. And a bunch of Karens on these boards. Sorry, I keep using that.
yeah.
It's wrong. Sorry, Karen out there who's actually cool and nice and reasonable.
I mean, like the pirates that sit on the median here?
You've got all these people.
At the end of the
The road
day.
pirates?
Yeah. You know, like at the end of the day.
No, all these colloquialisms. I got you.
Usually we have a couple of them lined up here.
Because Karen's is so much different than at the end of the day I like to have a beer.
There's a generation that just peppers them in. There's cliches.
You choose to be frustrated about that.
I don't see that like Tim was.
You said at the end of the day, that son of a...
You know, at the end of the day,
I just want to have
I miss
a
conversation.
nice mug, a frosty beverage. It's a beautiful, kind of like...
Morning
beautiful
on Indoctrinated.
countryside, Fantastic state. It's just terrible
They've ruined
policies and decisions in major cities.
Well, it's an un-American place.
It really
And
is.
it's not a matter of...
But it used to be.
They say,
very
you guys think you have a corner on patriotism. No, we don't. We believe in what was intended. You guys have gotten away from it. That's no longer an American place.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's too bad.
I wish it weren't so. Like, at some point, California's going to get bad enough that the wine industry is going to leave it. It's like, this is like the one place that God smiled on in a way that no other place, I'm including Bordeaux, I'm including Burgundy, I'm including everywhere. Nobody has the consistency of California's done.
Amazing country.
No one on the planet. You bought some land there. You just won the lottery because you did it back in the '60s because you wanted a vacation home. So
And like Illinois, that's run by Chicago, LA and San Francisco run the state.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I was
You guys
born
have
in
any?
Sacramento.
We're really?
We're in Rancho Cordova.
Did you just get out of there immediately?
Well, my dad was, career Air Force fighter.
Oh, okay,
Moved
yeah.
around a lot, but
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it. They say the area where I was born is now a war zone.
Oh, really? I wouldn't be surprised. You know what Sacramento's known for? Rice paddies.
Really?
Not kidding.
I thought it was the capital, but
It is the
rice
capital,
paddies,
but
too.
nobody cares about that because it's California. Rice paddies.
I
Look
was
it up.
governor there, as you know. So expensive.
The governor. Love it. How about you guys? Do you like any cities in California?
I had Huntington Beach for a little while.
You did?
Yeah, it was nice.
Okay.
Yeah, it was fun, but in Huntington Beach, people were jerks and jackasses. I had emo hair, so they called me
You
fat.
fit right in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I moved inland to like Chino Hills area, and everyone was cool.
You're from Chino?
Yeah, from Chino.
Oh, Chino, man.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but I thought it was cooler like in the Inland Empire than it was on the beach side.
Were you a Valley girl?
No. Today, yes, but no.
Not back then. Yeah. There's some places though that are like Orange County, isn't it pretty conservative?
More so.
More so than some of the other places. I know San Diego has some places that are pretty conservative as well, and that are kind of nice. So I don't know.
You know who
We'd
I
have
just
to ask
talked to yesterday?
Gabe William.
The guys who founded this public square. Public squares, it's all conservative businesses.
Yeah.
Like-minded people that have come together in a virtual mall.
Yeah.
They moved from San Diego to West Palm Beach.
Really?
Retired 60-some employees. So
Oh,
that's
wow.
it. We're gone.
Yeah. It's going to continue happening. Next chat.
All right, speaking on California policies from Ray 1776, question, we know California has terrible policies. Can you think of any policies that are good?
We get no California-themed questions?
We are getting some California-themed questions. So policies that are good. Let me just go through a few of them in my head. So high income tax, that's bad. A rail system that was supposed to cost $10 billion connecting Los Angeles to San Francisco and on up. They've spent, I think, all of that money so far.
And no one uses it.
No track is laid. And they need $100+ billion more to actually make this happen. And nobody wants to use it. I'm not kidding, by the way. Those
Really?
are the numbers. It's like, hey, it's only going to cost $10 billion. Hey,
That's a bit
we blew
cloudy,
through
but
the
we're not
$10
supposed to get
billion.
any
What
rain
more
till
did you get?
tomorrow, I think.
We blew through the $10 billion. We're still in the planning phase. No, it's the EPA. It's pretty much the EPA. Like they're shooting themselves in the foot. They have drought problems because they literally flush tons of fresh water into San Pablo Bay because they don't want to mess with like the darting whatever fish and mess with that. So they end up with drought conditions, which causes wildfires and lots of people. None. There are zero things that California is doing right now that are effective, good policies that I would want.
I remember a story about 10 years ago where they found a plant
They did.
that they thought was extinct, and they rerouted, they halted construction of an interstate
Highway, yeah.
to reroute.
And they put it right through somebody's neighborhood. Much easier to get rid of a house than a plant.
Yep.
What foreman would do that? It's like,
Yeah.
we're supposed to go.
No, do you understand the kind of
Hold it up.
penalties that the EPA, I'm not kidding, the EPA, like if you run across some kind of plant or animal sanctuary or something like that and you build through it, they will literally make you tear it down, even though the damage is already done and you can't bring that back,
Yeah.
and make you go around and fine you into oblivion. It really is out of control kind of stuff. Like, I just don't know of any good policies. Like, they're banning Airbnbs in a lot of counties because they're like, oh, you have to stay for 30 days or more. And it's like,
Yeah.
Well, they still
Great.
have some tasty waves. So there's that.
did you just say that out loud?
I did.
What are you talking, like Mavericks? Half Moon Bay?
Where are they? I've never really spent much time at the beach there. Are there? Can you get to a
There's nice
beach?
waves.
Yeah, there's plenty of beaches. It's just, cold Pacific water.
Yeah. You need a,
You don't
you need
really
a
want to go
wetsuit.
in.
You need a dry suit, probably.
Yeah, you need a suit, and you need to have some incredible surfing skills if you're going to try to surf. I mean, it's not like Point Break where it's like, yeah, bro, we're at the beach.
It's tough with the locals too.
Yeah, locals.
Well, Jocko Willink is up, every morning, works, he takes a picture of his watch, he trains.
I think
The
he takes
second
those
thing-
pictures, like, I think he sets the time on the watch and then moves it a minute, takes another picture, moves it.
Schedules that
And
social
schedules that
media
out,
post.
yes.
But,
Yeah.
but
He's
he
sleeping in.
surfs
Come on.
every morning he can.
Yeah.
Right after training in his home gym, he's off to the...
No, it'd be
and then
great.
off to do jiu-jitsu.
There's plenty of surfing.
He's like a superhero.
Yeah.
Must be nice.
Whatever. No policies. No policies are good that I know of. If you
I can't
guys,
think of any.
let me know if you are in California and you know of some of the policies that they have that are actually good. I mean, I think there are some
Do they have
basic
any? Do they
policies.
have any? Maybe interior, maybe no speed limits, something like that. We could.
No, it's all. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
research
no,
did send in that California, the High-Speed Rail Authority project, is going to cost $35 billion.
Nope.
Oh, jeez.
That's insane.
Nope, they need 100+ billion. I literally saw it yesterday. Unless somebody was lying. It's possible that somebody was lying, but it was like $100+ billion was
Oh, yeah.
needed.
What's worse is the full cost is funding up at $100 million.
Okay, there we go. All right, so the full cost. Maybe there's a section that will be done for the $35 billion. They're like, Texas needs to do the same thing. Texas needs to have something that connects Dallas down to Houston and Austin and San Antonio. We're
It's
like,
going to be all union workers.
you mean that
Sure.
30-minute flights
No, it
is
is.
just too much?
Yeah.
Let's make it a
but,
4-hour trip on a
Yeah, exactly.
public
Pete
transport.
Buttigieg is at the tiller of the ship on that, though, as transportation secretary.
Yes, Transportation Secretary.
He'll make that happen. There won't be any derailment.
You know what? His only understanding of transportation goes back to the Studebaker factory that used to be near Notre Dame in South Bend, Indiana. That's it. The Studebaker factory. Yes. Anyway, moving on. Next jet.
All right, from Vice Dietz. Question for LWC. What do you guys think about the Titanic sub and any fishy possible facts that you've heard?
I'm so glad that you asked. I've had to do some soul searching with this stupidity. I feel very bad for the people. I feel incredibly bad for the families that are dealing with this. Like, there's no worse thing to deal with probably than the idea that for days you're going to know that your relatives or loved ones are going to die if not rescued. And at this point, they're dead. It's over. I know the media is carrying this on like today is a pivotal day. It's an 8-hour trip for them to go from the bottom to the top. So even if they found them right now, they're out of oxygen. This thing is over. Unfortunately,
Well, they could be on top, right? Bobbing, but
I don't
they
think
can't come
so.
out of this. Can they
well, the
open it
thing
up?
is, they have Starlink, and so if they had like a complete system failure and nothing works, maybe they could be bobbing on the top. I have no idea. But if they didn't, then Starlink would be picking them up, right? At least theoretically. My problem with this is not that people did something, and honestly, I hated this. Matt Walsh was like, I can't believe you guys aren't for exploration. You guys would call people that tried to summit Mount Everest the first time if they died morons. No, I wouldn't. I would say that they didn't know what they were getting into and maybe died because of lack of oxygen, and they thought maybe they could make it, and they wouldn't. I wouldn't say that's dumb. I wouldn't say exploration's dumb. What I would say is flaunting regulations and saying that you can do it a better way and a much more, a cost-effective way, and the reason that we
And
didn't
a
get
woke
certified
way.
to dive down further further was because it cost too much money. And it's like, no, there's a reason that these restrictions are in place for stuff like this. You can't necessarily think that a fiberglass hull with some steel on the end and some remote control that you bought at Radio Shack is going to be the best way to go. I'm not saying they were dumb for trying new stuff, but this is diving down 12,500 feet. You don't get to try a lot of new stuff on this. You got to go with kind of tried and true, what works in experience and safety, and that comes at a cost. And sometimes that prices people out of the market. Like I get it. Like no, I understand that that's a problem, but reverse it and go, okay, people going to space. Elon Musk and what's his name, Branson, they're doing it with the same kind of safety regulations as NASA. Like they're not trying to kind of buck the industry and say, oh, well, that's just too expensive. It's like, no, they're actually trying to do it very safely. And it looks like these guys didn't. I don't know how much the passengers knew about that, so I'm not necessarily faulting them. I think it was a big risk. I have actually a quote or a tweet from, it's a director at Seek Hootie. Can we pull this up? I sent it over to Ginger Snap, so he should have it. And he basically is saying, like, hey, there was a lot of other safety issues. I actually went on this sub and didn't like it. So pull that up really quickly to show everybody. Now!
I wonder what the wave.
Just pull it up. Just pull it up.
Yeah, no shit.
No. Not the. I don't want this. I want the tweet that I sent to
Look
Ginger.
at this dumbass. He's doing fucking 45.
This may be him talking, though. Maybe,
fuck are you
maybe I
doing,
spoke
dude?
too soon. Is this him talking? Yeah. All right, play the clip. I'm sorry. It's better than a tweet.
Joe!
Sorry. You really should.
Because there was so little data available about managing that risk and really what it looked like if this sub went up and down as many times as it was.
Jesus.
Remind me how long ago that was, because Ocean Gate and the number of dives it's made since you were there on that sort of maiden shakedown dive, as you call it. It seems that safety wasn't a concern for those going on those trips.
No signal.
And there
Just
were waivers involved.
yank it over there,
Everyone was
homie.
well aware from the risk. The mention of death, apparently, in the first page of the waiver is mentioned 3 times.
Well, it always would be.
Sure, of course.
This was in 2021.
All the way across.
With these guys, and I passed on it because I had concerns about this, and some being talked about yet. So there is more information to come, and it just seems like it seems like a huge, risky kind of thing to do, and it doesn't seem like they did it the right way.
Yeah, they probably didn't let it.
Yeah, well, they kind of
Outside the waiver, it's all white.
and people are like,
Yeah,
"Oh, you're
that's
being
right.
ghoulish and stuff." I'm like, "No, I'm saying that these guys are actually on safety for this."
And they talked about being woke with it. And
Yeah, and it's like, I want a bunch of young people. It's fine to want a bunch of young people, but have some people there, and maybe in this particular voyage, they look like they had some older white guys that were there in this particular one, but he's flaunting all of these things, saying, it's kind of like a guy that sets up a cafe and says, I'm not going to charge anybody any money, like we talked about. I can't remember where it was,
Yeah.
Toronto or whatever, what city, Vancouver. And he said, I'm not going to do it. And then he closes up, and you're like, that was stupid. We could have told you that from the beginning. So here's the silver lining. And listen, I'm being somewhat serious. Maybe they imploded. I'm being serious because if this is them dying, if that's the thing, that's the better way to go. It's better for them to get down there, implode. We don't understand. It happened in an instant and it's over. If the only option is for them never to be found again or to die, that's the best way for this to end. And I hope that's what happened because I don't think
12,000 feet. It was built for that. So
I don't know that it was. That's the thing. They only had certifications to 4,000.
Oh, wow.
No, I think it was like 12. Well, I saw the article in meters. It was like 1,200 meters, and they needed a 4,000 meter certification.
Oh, so they needed a 4,000 meter certification.
Yeah, and they
Gotcha.
didn't pay for it.
Gotcha. Well, they were certified.
4,000 is 12,000 feet.
Yeah.
So when you sign a waiver for climbing, Tim, it's got to say death in there somewhere.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
sure
of
does.
course.
Yeah.
So it's just white noise. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably
I just hope
equipment
it
because
didn't
he's
go like that.
like roadside
Yeah, that
for
sucks,
big
but
trucks.
Those are your only options. Die slowly.
Probably the welder and stuff like that are all on the one side.
Yeah, I just this is terrible. It's lesson learned. I don't know that we keep learning these lessons, but safety has to come first when you're doing stuff like this.
Well,
You
he
have
was
to have
concerned about
contingencies and
marketing.
like all of that stuff has to be in place.
He was concerned about marketing and exciting a generation about exploration. Well, that's
Yeah.
failed. That's over with.
You've got to do it safely. I agree with the underlying
people
thing.
think this is a possible.
I agree with saying, hey, like we know more about space than we know about our own oceans. Fine, I understand it. Let's explore. Got it. You want to do it the right way. Otherwise, you
Still
set
branches on the side of the highway here from that tornado last Friday.
And how deep does light go away? Very deep.
Yeah, I don't remember
Within
exactly.
a few hundred feet, I think you're dark.
Yeah, you're just screwed.
Right.
That's what I think.
Tragic.
So,
And we got the
but it
tweet,
has nothing to do with California.
We got that tweet you were looking for, citing safety concerns as well.
Yeah. Pull that up.
Josh Gates.
Yeah.
Those asking, Titan did not perform well on my dive. Ultimately, I walked away from a huge opportunity to film Titanic due to my safety concerns with at OceanGate platform. There's more to the history and design of Titan that has not been made public, much of it concerning.
Yeah. So we'll continue to hear stuff. Obviously, SEC.
I wouldn't have done well. I don't like an MRI machine.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like an MRI machine that's submersible.
Well, that can kill you immediately. All right, next chat.
All right, from Ulagna Incorporated, etc. Question for Pops. I know little boys like to wrestle and fight, but my small boys want to scrap 24/7. I'm just not sure what to do. How much do I let them? We try to stay active and burn off excess energy, but there's always more.
Well, yeah, and you've got two. You got to schedule it. You can't do it all the time. But I remember, gosh,
schedule the matches.
No, you really do. Because your wife's not going to allow it. It just gets too bodies hitting the floor 24/7. But no, you make time for that. And we've talked about this a lot. You get kids into jiu-jitsu. It's a blast. They're learning something they don't even realize, and it gets all that energy out.
Yeah, and
it's safe.
It's, how do I say this the right way? It's part of the process for boys. Like, and girls are not as used to this. Like, we're dealing with this now with two boys, and she sees this, and that's pretty normal. And nothing crazy. Like, if they're wailing on each other, that's a different thing, right? We're not talking about that. We're talking about wrestling and kind of some confrontation. Like, that's how guys
bring
kind of
back
find
wailing. I love that.
Yeah.
Wailing on it.
He's wailing on him, man.
It's before ground and pounding.
Yeah.
Wailing. Yeah.
Exactly. That's kind of how guys find their place in the pack, so to speak, right? Of
wild
friends.
heart. It's am I worthy to protect the village?
Right,
That's
exactly.
what it is.
So that's just kind of in them, and you want to try to find creative outlets for it, like you said.
I want to hunt around me so bad.
Jiu-jitsu, whatever age that is, or Ronnie. Probably a waste of time, but still better than nothing.
The superpower.
Yeah,
that is the superpower.
Yeah, so
protect yourself.
Doing something like that is very helpful. It does help burn that stuff off, and gives. I think it also teaches them control, which is very hard for young kids, because what happens is, and I can see it. My son will get frustrated, and he doesn't know how to process it yet. He doesn't have that built-in pause, think through it, allow this wave of frustration and this energy to kind of dissipate a little bit, and then I'll think more clearly.
Fucking fish guy going less than the speed
I've
limit.
been wronged, and my brother needs to be pushed down. It's just, that's how quickly it happens. And so you have
remedies for this.
Yeah. Right, you have to train them, and I tell him all the time, like, hey, I know that you're frustrated, you don't know how to deal with this. I understand. And I don't know if that registers, but I wanted to know, like, I get what you're feeling, like, as a guy, like, you understand that raw kind of emotion is there. And the only, like, our outlet isn't crying, our outlet is pushing, our outlet is defending, our outlet is stealing your toy because I want to. Because you pushed me a minute ago, and I will exact my revenge in whatever way I can, right? But that's just part of the process. So yeah, I think there's some of that you kind of let happen to some degree, where you can roughhouse, but they have to be able to roughhouse together. One can't just be dominating the other all the time.
Men need to know how to bridle in strength.
Yeah,
and we learned that. And you guys know this. If you've ever wrestled roughhoused with your wife, you're going to get hurt because you never learned. You get whacked. And what are you crying for, you big baby? Because you don't know how to control.
Right.
You just scratched my face and whacked me, and we're playing.
Yeah, exactly.
And so guys bridle that in all the time. We know how far we're taking it. Well, people can get hurt.
Exactly. And dads, I mean, play with your kids, roughhouse with your son, because you can also show them control.
Right.
And you can show them when, like, and sometimes this will happen. It's going to happen. Like, if you do something and it's like, oh, that actually hurts them. Not major, but like it hurts enough to where they say, ow, or something like that. And you're like, oh, hey, really sorry, I didn't mean to do that. And they're like, oh, there's a line. Like, you can still play and not hurt somebody, but sometimes people get hurt, so maybe I gotta be careful too. Like, you start teaching that and dripping on it. Like, I let my sons, one of my favorite things to do is to sit on the floor, and they've just taken baths, and they'll run one at a time, but sometimes two at a time, and like run into my chest, and I'll fall over like they've knocked me over, because I'm sitting on the ground, and they're like, fall over, and they'll roughhouse, and I'll roll around with them for a little bit, and try to let them get back up, and then I'll just keep pulling their legs so they can't quite get back up. And they love it. Like, it's a blast for them, but they understand, like, I'm kind of tossing them around a little bit.
on the bed.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you're doing all these things and having fun. And that's, as a father, that's a blast. But you're also teaching some lessons. You know, the roughhousing does have some kind of purpose. Now, if you're just doing it for the giggles of throwing your child across the room into what you hope will be a soft landing, that's probably not a great idea. It just has purpose and it's fun. So yeah, if you've got kids that are constantly going at each other, you got to look at some of the other, you know, I don't know how old they are, but you got to look at some of the other, I guess, factors. Like, are they watching a lot of this on television? Do their friends do this a lot? Are you in a rough area? Like, I grew up in a lot of different rough areas where you kind of had to be, you know, a strong. I was always bigger than everybody else, so I didn't have to put much of a macho face on because I just literally could kill you and not need to. It's just so much bigger than everybody else. But if you've got a lot of these other influences and factors going on in life that are causing this, then maybe look into that a little bit to try to go, hey guys, we gotta, like, there is a time and place for this. We can roughhouse, here's when we're gonna do it. But after that, you know, you gotta learn how to control this. You gotta learn how to.
It's fun to see the differences because, you know, Stephen's twins, boy and a girl, the boy wants to roughhouse all the time.
All the time.
Tossed onto the pillows and stuff. And she could go, once or twice she went onto something else, and he just wants to keep going.
What's really funny too is, so with our boys, Luke is of the age now where he knows not to hit, but will still do it sometimes. David has no idea. David is so young that he just knows, like, he can hit. He's like, I can control my arms in a way.
It's a full wind every time.
I know, so he'll go over to his brother, and Luke is very patient with them, because we'll tell Luke, like, if Luke hits David, no, Luke, come on, you know not to do that. He can't defend himself yet. And David walks over, and Luke's sitting there playing with him on the head. Looks like
Just pop.
You guys gonna do anything about this? He's like winding up. Okay, fine. We'll make that work.
Well, Joey can get a little rowdy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, a little red bugs.
He scratched my nose the other day.
Oh.
I just grabbed his arm and gave it like a little squeeze. He's like, oh. Like, taught him to cross the line. I'm like, dude, you can't be scratching my face, bro.
I know. Yeah. Biting is the worst. When they're biting.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when I roll them, so they do this, and I kind of cradle their head, and then I grab kind of their, around the back, kind of lower back, bottom area, because I can control their whole body that way. And so I just roll over onto one side, and I'm like, and I roll over to the other side. But it places them right here, and they can't move and get out, and so every once in a while they're like, no biting.
Well, Stephen, we would go shopping, and he would do like the Pink Panther. He would wade in the clothing rack, stuff, and then come out and attack you. Where he did do it all day long.
I would go.
Pretty clear to our viewers. There are still lots of questions to be answered about
Debris field found near submersible search area.
But just to kind of give.
Like I said, that would be the best if things, like, you don't ever want any of this to happen, but if the options are die slowly or die quickly, you pick die quickly.
Talking about a 2-hour descent.
Yeah. Several places caught on fire. Yeah. I'm not a huge climate person, but I do believe in trying to maintain clean water. I think that's more important than the temperature bullshit, because we have very little we can do to control that. But I am all about keeping the waterways clean. I remember when I was a kid, though, in the 70s, there was lakes that you couldn't go in. You just couldn't go into it. Now they harvest perch and walleye and Excalibur.
Their belief is that from moment one, if they got
Thanks for the sub, bud.
they were still alive. From moment one, they would have known preserving oxygen was the most important thing they could do, because they may have been there for several days.
So what do you do? Kill the other passengers?
The conditions would be horrendous. Pitch black, freezing cold, and dwindling oxygen.
Negative 32 degrees, I believe.
That's not survival.
But if they were able to stay calm, sleep, use as little oxygen as possible, continue to use the
They're done.
dioxide scrubber, which
talking on CNN about the possibility that these fuckers are alive.
That they might be able to survive beyond that 96 hours. So, but the window is closing.
Yeah. It closed 3 days ago.
Since that you feel that the amount of fear that's coming here, St. John has come out from here in the last couple of days, and now that they're getting to the
Sad. I don't think. I mean,
What is that carbon dioxide scrub? What is he talking about?
Haven't you ever seen Apollo 13?
Yeah.
I mean, it scrubs carbon dioxide out of the air, so you
Yeah.
can breathe a little bit longer.
For the group, not in good gotcha.
Yeah, just sent it for research. We're setting up a press briefing with the Coast Guard today at 3 p.m.
Yeah.
Talk about everything.
I wonder if they know.
It's recovery at this point.
Yeah. Sad. All right, let's take one or two more chats.
All right, from Curly 54, question for the crew. I have 3 baby grandsons. The mom is not okay with pushing the trans ideology on kids, but is okay with drag queen story hour and other things.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure dirty.
Indoctrinate innocent kids. She's young and doesn't understand how this works.
Teacher.
How do I convince her to keep the boys away from this crap?
Teacher, this is how this works. Listen, parents, there is no reason under the sun that you should do drag queen story hour. There is no reason to have drag queen story hour.
Well, let's play it out. A woman reading a story to kids.
Yeah.
Fine. Why does it have to be a man acting like a woman's reading to kids?
Right.
Why do we have to just indulge that?
Are they story hour connoisseurs and they've just run out of story hours and now they're like, well, drag queen, I guess that's the only place for us to go? Are they literally... I mean, if you're taking your kids to story hours at these libraries all the time...
Choppa.
And the only option left is drag queen.
Sorry, Choppa, I didn't see
I
you.
just don't understand the logic.
Oh, you peed in the water, okay. Yeah.
Story reader.
I pee in the pool.
Have to do with anything.
And so there has to be some kind of line. Like, she's
Only
not
place I
okay
don't
with
pee
all
is the
this,
bathtub, 'cause
transgender ideology.
it just
So I think
seems
you've
weird.
got a base of operation there and say, okay,
I do
well,
pee
then
in the
why would
shower,
you
though.
expose your children to it all the time? Like, by going to these story hours, you've got options. You've got men reading stories. You've got women reading stories. Mostly, probably women reading stories, or maybe the author. Hour.
Exactly.
So many times that you're running out of options here. Just do that, and then if they get pushed back a little bit, just say, well, look, this is how they start grooming, start kind of telling you that these ideas are okay. These are ideas that you should try. And at 12, it's probably time to start exploring your body a little bit, maybe the female body if you've got little Susie in the class. At that conversation point, parents are picking up their kids and leave out sexual stuff. That's 12 years old. I don't know that you're sitting down for a story hour with your parents.
Fucking Locals, man. Locals mobile app just blows.
He's trying to tell you he's in the wrong body. No,
It shouldn't.
He just saw a show of a clown and it was cool.
Right. It shouldn't be a thing. By the way, they shouldn't also do clown story hours. Terrifying kids. Bobo should never read to your child. Bobo's probably a pedophile. Next chat.
From Josh Phillips 7. Question for the crew. I think the country is finally turning back conservative with the recent success of the boycotts. Is this fake optimism, or are we finally reaching a turning point like with President Reagan back in the 80s?
I don't think it's fake optimism. I just think it's very early. And so you may have some kind of fits and right? So you may start to see some progress event January 6th and making it into the next 9/11. And so there'll be something like that. So somebody, and I hope this doesn't happen because this is stupid and this is senseless, but maybe somebody on the other side is targeted in a way that ends up with loss of life, right? Either politician or well-known activist or something like that. And then they'll use that as the catalyst. See, there's so much hate. We need acceptance, right? And that way. So I hope none of that happens. It should never happen, period. Even if it was a tactical advantage, you shouldn't, just because somebody's trans doesn't mean they deserve to die, right? Infecting our society. That's it. There's a way to do that without killing people, right? And physically threatening people. We've talked about that on the show. But I do think there is a turn in this particular category, and it's night and day. Like, this is a very clear description clear example of the left overreaching and running too far, running so far past where people are, and it's become a clown show. Like Riley Gaines, I think yesterday was before Congress, or maybe it was a couple of days ago, and I saw the clip yesterday. And this lady was trying to say that there's no difference between a man and a woman, and she's like, look, men and women can compete in men's sports and do just fine. Like look at this, they do just fine. You think somebody's gonna beat the Williams sisters at tennis? And Riley's like, and gets asked a question. He goes, by the way, the 203rd ranked man in the world beat both of them. Moving on to my point, she just nailed it. Game. No, she just nailed it, and it was just like they just don't know.
And she went on to say, my husband swam at Kentucky as well.
And he could kick my butt.
Smoke me, and
he was average
on my game.
He was a good swimmer, but he wasn't, he wasn't winning championships or anything like that.
She's
She's
really become the spokesperson, the face and the voice for that.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't, to the chat question here, I wouldn't let the boycotts be your, tipping point to think things are. But I think you're right. To your point, they have overreached. And if Rush Limbaugh were around today, he wasn't big in the cultural issues, but he would always say, "Trust me, they will overreach. And they will swing back." And I think we're starting that.
It's gender and transgender ideology right now, and sexualization of kids is starting to piss off all the right people. I mean, all the groups of people that you would say, "Hey, those are our protected classes. Muslims, we're on your side against those stupid conservatives." And now they're like, Muslims are actually fighting against these things. They're like, wait, but I thought we were friends.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you guys want to sexualize my child and tell them it's okay for them to chop off their wang. We're not friends anymore. It's good. It's an overreach, and it's needed. I think
and they don't want to have to throw them off roofs.
Yep, and technically, I think there's a law against turning around into other people's driveways too.
He's got that.
Even though if you do it it happens all the time.
Just get away. One of these days.
We got that Riley Gaines clip.
All right, show the Riley.
Yeah, she's great.
But what the hell is this? Survey?
Well,
She's looking right into the house.
Give me the
This. I'll just wander into the street.
It's about 40 more seconds. It's worth it.
How many female members of the NBA do you see?
Well, I can say
That's
that
not the right
there's
question.
been this news article about men that think that they could beat Serena Williams in tennis, right? That they think that they could actually score a point on her. And it's just not the case. She is stronger than that.
What's your experience, Ben? Male, female?
Both Serena and Venus lost to the 203rd ranked male tennis player, which they're phenoms for women. My experience, my husband, he swam at University of Kentucky as well. In terms of accolades and in terms of national ranking, I was a much better swimmer than him. He could kick my butt any day of the week.
No. This person sits there and says that's just not the case. They could score a point on her. 203rd ranked male did it.
She went to that.
I know.
Serena Williams has said that.
It was perfect.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
She's just not current.
But that's one of the sports where you think, okay, maybe the line isn't, it's not as physical.
Yeah.
Right? Do golf. Annika Sorenstam, which was one of the best golfers, wouldn't even get close.
Which tees, Joe? Which tees?
We'll go with whites.
Okay. I mean, it's so absurd.
Yeah, it is absurd, and
there is zero risk of it going the other way. Zero. Not a matter of opinion. It'll never happen going the other way. And there's a lot of risk going.
Yeah. All right. Final chat. We got to go.
All right. Final chat from AJergs92. Question for the crew. If Trump were to speak out against the mRNA shots, do you think that would boost his standings significantly or possibly hurt him with potential voters?
I don't think it would hurt him. I just think it would be a flip-flop. About Donald Trump's approach to this. You can be pro-vaccine while acknowledging its shortcomings and that it's experimental and that if you're older, then it makes sense. If you're younger, it probably doesn't make sense. I'm not sure if he's done a whole lot of that. I know he's been very pro-vaccine.
No signal to stop.
It was a
Calling
credit
out on
thing.
it, though, in the debates.
They will, and they should, because I disagreed with him on this.
Yeah.
Right? I think what he got caught up in was that he did it so quickly, and he was like, see, I got you the vaccines that turn the tide, not thinking broader long-term effects and negativity associated with but they were really supposed to be going to older people and sick people to help them. That would have been a much better messaging. Like, you keep the win and you point out the loss and go,
knowing what we knew back then, he needs to preface that.
Yeah.
Gee, mommy.
Yeah.
He's
How
got
he
some
handles
work
it
to
is
do.
very
But
important.
it's still applaud Operation Warp Speed.
Yeah.
The mechanism in which we
I love that.
Yeah.
the shots was great.
Yeah.
And that speaks to his ability to get things done in any area. So
Exactly.
that he can spin off of that.
He did it very quickly. So hopefully he will atone for his vaccination sins, because that'll make it much easier for him to deflect some of these arguments. But we will see you guys. Thank you so much. We've got one more cultural appropriation. We're back on YouTube on the 29th, so make sure you check it out. And we'll see you tomorrow.
I don't know what's up with the signal here. Yeah, this is where, I don't know if you guys can fucking hear me. The signal just dropped out. This is where the bail bondsman pulled the gun on frickin' media. I went out and recorded with him that day. I listened to the scanner during the day. See if this is even fucking working. Cops always tell each other when they're in town. Yeah, this is telling me I have no signal now, and the stream is just fine. Yeah. This is fucking prison, man. Yeah. Oh well. It'll be better too on the desktop. It just shot up, but it's all the way through town. It said transmission unstable. I'll review it, but that's what you get with Prism. All right. I gotta respond to a couple of these messages. All right, guys. We might make it by 30 minutes after the hour, but it'll probably be 45 or 15 minutes till the top of the hour. I'll set up the desktop stream. It's gonna be hopefully another busy afternoon, though. You guys will just watch whatever I got planned. Peace. Thanks for riding with me. Love you guys.